Greetings, Star Trek modelers. Some of you old-timers are going to remember this kit. This is the 1966 AMT U.S.S. Enterprise kit. This is the first release of this model right after AMT got the license from Paramount and the original series was being broadcast. Now, this model is part of history now, since this kit's been out on the market for over 40 years and still going strong. So I thought we'd take a look at this kit and what it came with back at the time. There's been quite a bit of kicking around on the internet forums of what this kit came with and what it did and didn't have. This kit is 100% original on the inside, so we'll go ahead and take a look. I've also got the 1967 Alien Battle Cruiser, which later became the Klingon Battle Cruiser, with lights that I'll do here as soon as we're done taking a look at this one. So here we go. This box is kind of beat up, but you have the classic box art, which I believe in '68 they completely updated this, changed it to an actual photograph of the model that we've all seen orbiting Earth. One of the big things that you notice right away when you take a look at this is that this clear display stand was included with the kit. And this stand is unique in the fact that it's a fairly sturdy design, and it's quite a bit superior to all the stands that they released later on, and would have been interesting to see how this looked. I don't ever plan on building this kit, but it's something that they decided to drop after that. Now here we have our instruction sheet, and I believe, yes, this is the original warranty information. So if you had a problem with this kit, told you not to take it back to the store and contact the manufacturer directly. I doubt they do that anymore. We have our original instruction sheet. Some of the differences in this that we notice right away are that it's very, very simple in its layout, and you have different illustrations, since some of the parts, as I'm going to show you, are different in this model by a long shot from what we've seen from '68 on. As you can see, the big difference here being in the instructions. Not sure how well you can see this in the light, but the whole lower secondary hull mold is designed with a battery tray in place, which has all these reinforcing ribs down here, and a redesigned or original design deflector dish, which acts as a switch assembly, and I'm going to show you those parts here in a second. And we have the classic grid lines of the saucer on the top. Alright, let's take a look. And here we have the decal sheet. Now, this is cool. These letters here are actually much more in scale and look nicer than all the decals they put out from '68 until Round 2 has done the recent repop, where they've gone and redone them now, and they make much more sense. They're more back to the scale they should be, and the font type is more correct. But interestingly enough, these are much nicer, maybe because they didn't try to pack so many of them on as they did with the alternate names that they did with all the decal sheets and registration numbers from '68 on. So we have that, and it's fairly simple. There's not much there, but what is there is nice. And then we have the classic ribs on the top of the saucer. And I want to tell you, this is some heavy, thick plastic. I mean, they don't make them like this anymore. This is some heavy, thick stuff. You can feel the heft of it right away. This is the lower secondary hull assembly I wanted to show you. Hopefully you can see it in these pictures. The lighting's not so good. All this ribbing is molded in here, and this is a strong piece. I mean, it's amazing to me how different this is than the later releases, and how much better it's made. I was test fitting a couple of these pieces together, and the fit on this stuff is fantastic. And here's one thing I remember. The early versions of this kit, this mounting system for the warp engines was extremely poorly designed. You basically put the two halves together and you slide it into the hull and slide this kind of clip that goes in here and glue it in place. Well, you always had a problem with the nacelles either going this way, or back and forth. It just wasn't very good. They fixed that to a pretty good degree in the later releases. This is a thing that I noticed right off the bat as well. This deflector dish assembly, which actually got a little piece of flash stuck in there. But this whole assembly here has been designed differently. We have here part of the battery tray assembly, and this is actually part of the switch. When you push this deflector in and out, it actually puts pressure on the battery here and turns the lighting system off and on. Or you may, I believe you may be twisting it a little bit or something like that, but I have to look at the instructions a little further, as simple as they are. But this deflector dish itself, the mold is much more accurate than the later release. You have a bigger dish, number one, and number two, you have no kind of odd stepping going on or angling going on that you have on the newer dish. And it's just much more closer to the accurate one. And here we have the Bussard collectors. Now you notice right off the bat that this is a completely separate part on the 68 and later kits. This cap basically goes on your warp nacelle, and then this little piece here glues on separately. But what we have here is we actually have spacing in between here, where the other is just one kind of molded piece. And it's a little bit different there. And also at the rear, if I can find one of the rear engine caps here. Okay, this piece here is completely smooth, whereas we all remember the little ball kind of sticking out here, kind of part of the exhaust. The ribbing is still in place on the top, but otherwise these are smoothies, and I suppose with a little paint detail you could kind of mimic the grilling, the grill type look, I believe, from the second pilot episode, if you wanted to do a look like that with those caps. The warp nacelles here, halves appear to be pretty much unchanged on later releases. I do notice that we do have more contact points with these halves than you had in some of the later releases as well. I guess those got molded out after a period of time. These are very, very pronounced, and they're big. I mean, this thing, it was built heavy duty compared to the flimsier later versions. Here we have the green molded transparent parts. This was done for the lighting effect, to give it kind of a greenish glow. Later molded in clear. That was changed at some point, I'm not sure exactly when. And what else do we have here? Some type of literature from the day. All this for only 10 cents. A bunch of books and some space stuff. Those were the days. Alright, so that's a look at the original 1960s. Oh, at least, last but not least here, I better show this, since it's the main attraction. This is the actual lighting kit. It's 2 rice bulbs mounted on a wiring harness with a couple of very small screws and some small copper tabs that actually touch on the battery ends and make the contact to light it up. You can't see them in here because they've turned black with age, but and it's still all there. And that's it for the 66 Enterprise. Up next I'll be having a look at the 1967 Alien Battle Cruiser. Well, here it is. As released in 1967, the AMT Alien Battle Cruiser, as seen on Star Trek. There's an interesting story behind this. The actual designer of the ships for Star Trek on the original series was a guy by the name of Matt Jeffries. And Matt Jeffries actually designed this ship specifically for the AMT Model Corporation. So the story behind this is this ship and this kit were actually released before the ship was actually seen on the series. They had not decided on a name for the alien enemy at that point. So we have the Alien Battle Cruiser as seen on Star Trek. As we'll see, here we have some of the box art here. There's a special free offer from NBC for original Star Trek merchandise. You can see in this little coupon here, you can get note paper, decals, bumper stickers, film clips from the actual TV show. So already in '67 they were pretty heavily marketing Star Trek. Although I have an idea that they had no idea back in the day how popular these kits would be and how long lasting and how long they'd still be around. Here we have the instruction sheet, and as we see, by the time the kit was finalized, somewhere between the design of the box art and the actual instruction sheet, we now see that Klingon has been added to the title. So we've got Klingon Battle Cruiser spaceship. And we have also some big differences in the instruction sheet. Curiously, some of the, obviously here, some of the Trek canon hasn't been established, since the photon launcher here in the assembly instructions is referred to as an antenna. So that's interesting. Down here we have the wiring and light placement instructions for the lighting system, basically showing the installation and run the wires back through the neck of the model. And we have some real basic assembly directions here for assembling the bridge on top of the boom. And I'll show you those parts here in a second. We've got some differences in some of the plastics and chrome that were issued with this kit. And on the reverse, you've got your alternate display method for hanging with a string. That's very similar to what they've done over the years. And you've got obviously the same stand that we saw in the 66 Enterprise, and I'll be showing you that as well here in a second. And then this little sub-assembly area box down here, which shows the battery tray and how things go in there. The batteries, the terminals, how the switch operates. All part of history. Like I said, this kit was only produced for 1 year, and then they dropped the lighting system and completely redesigned some of the parts and the instruction sheet from that date on. Okay, so we'll have a look inside. And right away we see here's our free Star Trek merchandise offer, and we have our display stand again. Same one we saw in the Enterprise. Completely different than the really crummy, flimsy ones that were offered for both of these. Got to give a hand to round 2 models. The redesign on the stand is worth the price of admission now, just for those purposes of building a new kit. Okay, going to take a look at some of the parts here. We see here the same basic mold that we've had all these years. I understand now that on the new release of this kit, some of these details, this grill on the top of the main body assembly, are gone now. Again, there's a debate back and forth on what the studio model looked like and what Matt Jeffries' actual design looked like. Some of these ribs, these intakes, if you want to call them that, according to Matt Jeffries, those were originally intended to show on the filming miniature, but maybe for reasons of cost they were omitted, or time, or something like that. On the back side of this part, we see here a big difference. We have the battery tray and the brackets needed to mount all the contact terminals and the batteries themselves and the switch assembly. And other than that, it's basically the same. Now, I want to point out that these molds were new at the time when they were first casting these, and there's a few obvious molding issues going on with this, but just like the 66 Enterprise, this is some heavy, thick stuff, and just some basic test fitting some of the loose parts I did here. Stuff fits good, and it's pretty good quality as far as models go for back at that time. Alright, so we've got some of the chrome parts here and the green parts. We've got these little grill assemblies here that kind of louver type assemblies that go up on the side of the bridge area, and I believe they molded these in green originally to kind of give an eerie kind of greenish glow when the thing was lit, and kind of give it that alien appearance, even though that's not correct for the actual model miniature, if you want to say, at all. Also, these chrome embellished pieces here, most of the people that build these kits, they dull these down. There are some of them that are supposed to be metallic, some of them semi-painted, and you want a much duller kind of a metallic look and not a chrome-plated finish that's represented here. So that's interesting. And we have the engine nacelles, the caps, the top of the bridge, the electric shaver, as I like to call it. So that's what it looked like. And you have the detail on the warp engines here. I think there's a little bit of differences here. Now, I know that this ribbing is very pronounced here. This kind of grill effect is very, very pronounced on these, and it's kind of less so on some of the later releases, maybe due to the mold wearing out over time, since Ertl was using the same molds, doing a little reworking on them. Pretty sure all these little details here are the same, haven't been changed. Again, amazing, like 40-year plus run. Our basic parts that we're all familiar with from the original kits. And again, the star of the show here, some little brass mounting tabs for your lights. And here, in this case, we get 4 bulbs, so we get a little bit more areas of light on this model than the Enterprise kit. But it's just basically 4 rice bulbs mounted on some wire. You run back through the neck and up to your connecting switch, 2 batteries, and that's how it worked. Hard to say why they decided to quit including the lighting systems with them. Maybe due to cost. They were trying to keep the costs low, or they thought it was too complicated for some modelers at the time. Who knows? But there you have it. Part of history. The original Klingon and USS Enterprise first release kits. Hope this kind of clears up some of the stuff that's been talked about on what did and didn't come with these kits. So again, part of history. Hope you enjoyed it.